This podcast is sponsored by Highclere Castle Gin, born from a castle, renowned for its parties and acclaimed for its taste. Highclere Castle Gin is the winner of over 200 international spirit awards with a triumphant 100-point score. Pick up a bottle for yourself at highclarecastlegin.com.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the SpoilerTV podcast, your go-to podcast for all things TV. I'm Christina, and I'm here with my co-hosts Jessica and Susanna. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Same over here.
So for this week's episode, we did something a little bit different. We ran a poll on our Twitter X page. And by the way, if you're not following our podcast page, please head to @SpoilerTVPod, P-O-D, and hit follow. So we asked our listeners which shows they wanted us to discuss this week, and we got some excellent feedback. So today's episode is all about you, the listeners, and it's about what you wanted to hear. And that's what we're hoping to do moving forward. We want to make the podcast more interactive. We also encourage you to leave your thoughts on what we discussed in the comments. Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us? And if you do, we will address them in the preceding episodes. So we want to make this podcast what people want to hear. So we're hoping that you will participate. So again, it's @SpoilerTVPod on X or Twitter. But let's get started. So one of the most popular shows that got voted for this week was Fire Country. Had its season premiere on Friday. And this one was intense. There was a literal helicopter crash that put a stop to Gabriella and Diego's wedding, which actually paved the way for Bodhi and Gabriella to finally admit their feelings for one another. Jessica, what did you think of what you saw of the episode?
Yeah, I didn't get to finish. I was having a hard time because I haven't watched previous seasons.
Right.
So I need to go back and watch because I was loving what I was watching, but I needed more backstory.
Totally.
But I was so, obviously very sad that happened, and it's very dramatic, but I was so excited because I really liked their chemistry. So I really wanted something to happen that would stop the wedding, and not because of him. Because I know he went to the wedding and I thought maybe he was going to be the one to say something, especially after the dad got taken in handcuffs. But he didn't end up, and that whole thing happened. So I'm glad it worked out that way. But that's as far as I got in the episode. But it was so good. I need to keep watching so I can get the backstory.
Totally. So Bodhi restraining himself in the wedding and leaving actually helped him in a different way. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about that. But basically, Bodhi's out on parole. He's decided that firefighting is his calling. It's what's going to save him, essentially. And so he basically advocated for himself with Luke, and he was really blunt. Mm-hmm. But it was clear that his speech actually motivated Luke to help fast track his application. So even though Luke was really stubborn at first, he basically told him that it's nearly impossible for inmate firefighters to join Cal Fire, even after they're released. But you can kind of see Luke come around throughout the episode. And last season, Bodhi's speech, he basically asked Luke to speed up the process. And I think that really stuck with Luke. And then after seeing Bodhi's restraint during the wedding, he started to realize, okay, well, maybe he's got what it takes and maybe this can work. So we don't know how exactly Luke's going to help yet, but his chat with Sharon definitely hinted that Bodhi might get his shot at training with Cal Fire soon. So, and it's like they both know this is something that Bodhi was meant to do. But of course, one of the biggest moments in the episode was Gabriella's indecision at the altar. So you could basically, she was supposed to answer whether she took him or not, and she stalled long enough for the helicopter to come crashing down in perfect timing. And she actually admitted later on to Bodhi that she couldn't have married Diego, which was quite obvious after their kiss last season, Bodhi and Gabriella's kiss last season. And then, of course, her dad got arrested and Sharon uncuffed him during the rescue because he wanted to help out and they let him. And Bodhi also stepped up, even though he wasn't a firefighter during that rescue. But basically, the helicopter crash was a blessing in disguise for Gabriella. It led to a long overdue conversation between her and Bodhi. But, Bodhi finally stopped dodging her questions. And even though they didn't outright say what's going to happen from here, At least now they know they're kind of on the same page. So that sets up the rest of the season, and hopefully that kind of blossoms into something. But her dad is likely going to be a big barrier for them because he's not happy. He's really not happy about it. And he thinks that Bodhi reminds him too much of himself. And he doesn't want that for his daughter, right? So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And then there's that whole story with Rick's big reveal. So he came back to Edgewater after hearing about Kara's death, and he thinks Genevieve could be his daughter. But of course, Jake is beside himself over this news because she's his whole world. But even though Rick was kind of a bit of a bad influence, it seems that he's genuine in coming back, and regardless of what happened, if he's Genevieve's daughter, like he asked for a paternity test, I think she has a right to know, right? So, man, so much drama in that first episode. And then it ended on a cliffhanger. So the episode 2 is going to be just as good. I can already tell. And I agree, Jessica. I know a little bit, like I watched a few episodes of the previous season, but I still feel like I need to go back because you're right. There's just so many little details that if you haven't.
Yeah. And I feel like even some of the stuff could have been from like season 1, and it's not playing out again until season 3. So you miss a huge chunk, but for not knowing what was going on, I loved it so much that I'm willing to go back and put in the work because it is so good.
Yeah. Well, I've loved Bodhi. The actor that plays Bodhi, I've loved all of his other work. I've seen a lot of his other shows. And so that's kind of a buy-in for me. And then he was just in SEAL Team, and SEAL Team just ended. So yeah, I'm kind of rooting for him. I always sort of have. And I hope things work out. I hope he gets to, get into the fire squad and things work out with Gabriella. But now it's like, okay, got to gear up for the season.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Me too. Lots of good stuff going on there. But let's move on to Law and Order SVU. That was a big, big one this week too that people wanted to hear about. Susanna's our resident SVU expert. What you think?
Yeah, the last 2 episodes have been pretty crazy. Lots of big cases with really big perps. So last week or the week before, it was a judge. This week it was an Albanian crew that would fly into the US for 48 hours. They would do house robberies, and then they would fly out. And that's why Kelly Giddish kind of came back. So everyone got to see Rollins in her new role as part of the international group of crime people. So she has a new partner in that role. He seemed to be okay. He was actually part of the show this week too, because it was the Albanian crime syndicate. They were working with that to try to bring them down. And of course, during that, they came into the home of a couple who it was really weird at the beginning. You didn't know why they came into that home until obviously the whole story kind of rolled out. But the wife did get sexually assaulted in front of her friends and her husband. So of course SVU then gets involved. Right. So they worked the case together. It was kind of weird though to see Rollins in another squad. I kind of was bitter when they decided not to bring her back, because I think she fit well within the SVU squad. Then they had a lot of feedback from fans that were really upset that she got removed. So I think that this is the way that they're kind of saying to their fans, okay, yeah, we hear ya, we'll bring her back as a guest star. They had her leave as becoming a teacher in the university. Yeah. So she is very smart. So they had her actually teach some crime class at a university. Carisi was, they got married. So he was really into her doing that to spend more time at home. She hated it. As we noted in last year's season, she said that she lost a part of herself by not being a cop and being able to be on cases. So Benson got her involved in this new squad because, you know, unfortunately hers is now full. So it was bittersweet. I loved seeing her back and working with the old squad, but at the same time, it was like, you know, like I really wish she was still there.
Yeah.
But it was a good case. They ended up working together and figuring out who the perp was and who the Albanians were. They ended up bringing them down, of course. So I feel like this year, though, they're doing a lot more out of the box stuff. And you can tell they're kind of mixing it up because, you know, organized crime isn't on anymore on NBC. It's
Nope.
floating to Peacock.
And who knows
But
when that's starting?
yeah, and the Albanian crime syndicate was a huge part of the organized crime first season. So I feel like they're kind of taking into consideration that maybe people still want to see that kind of stuff. So bringing it in and not having just your regular sexual assault is really out of the box for them, which is actually really cool. I love it. I mean, every case you may say, like, I know that the other day we were talking about they've been on for 26 seasons, and how does that happen? You know, when so many seasons, so many shows get the axe after 5, or, you know, they're done after 3. And I think it's because every case is so different.
Mm.
And not only do they focus on just the cases, but the people involved in them, not only the squad, but also they go into more in-depth detail with the people that are assaulted. So I feel like this season, they're focusing more on cases like we talked about a couple of podcasts before. And I think that's going to be a good thing for them because it's been a great first 3 episodes. And the trailer for next week looks even better. So I'm looking really forward to it.
Yeah. I think part of what happens when you're in such, like, TV does not have the money that it used to, obviously, since COVID
Yeah.
and all the strikes and all of that stuff. But I think getting rid of her, Kelly Goodish, is because of budgets, right?
Yep.
But I mean, I guess bringing her in on a guest star role kind of just appeases people, I guess you could say. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Mariska Hargitay was also really upset with it because I know she had mentioned it on her IG profile on one of her posts.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, she's been there for a long time. So, you know, and the only 2 people that have been the consistent members for the 26th season is Mariska and Ice-T. So everyone's kind of been in and out of those roles. Rollins was a character that had been there for a while. So she was like at that point the third most person that's been on that show the longest, which is crazy. But yeah, to see her kind of go. And then I think one of the worst things was they brought in a new detective last year from Narc, and she did not fit in with the squad very well, and the fans did not appreciate her as part of the group. And I think that's why they kind of could have decided to like
What?
find her a way out back into Narc, and brought in the new character from that played in Griselda. That she didn't have a major role this week because, you know, they were doing both squads. It was more Mariska and Ice-T, but yeah, it was. I feel like this is the way to appease people, to have her keep coming back and
Yeah.
still being there as part of the police work, but not necessarily as part of SVU.
Right. Well, they got good ratings this week, so clearly people are happy, and there's lots of buzz on Twitter. So yeah, hopefully they keep having those guest roles for her. But now we're going to talk about one that's been long anticipated, and lots of buzz around NCIS Origins. I know people were bitter because Hawaii got canceled, and then kind of they felt like maybe Origins was taking its place, but it's a completely different feel. It's a prequel, not a sequel, and it sounds like it really delivered this week. Jessica tuned in. What did you think, Jess?
I normally do not watch any of the NCIS shows or anything like that, but you guys wanted to hear about this one. So
Yeah.
I was like, let me watch it. I need some new TV anyway. So
Love it.
I was thoroughly surprised.
Yeah.
I was on the edge of my seat the entire episode. I have no idea who any of these actors and actresses are from anything previous. Like I said, I normally will watch a show because I know somebody from a previous show. So this wouldn't have been something I would have ran to, but I'm in love. I will be tuning in every week.
Awesome.
It was so good.
Yeah.
The storyline, honestly, the characters, how well they mesh together. It was like, I've never seen a show in the first episode have the characters fit so well.
Yeah.
Like I was right away just like intrigued with the storylines, intrigued with the storylines that are going to happen with some of the cast members. Austin Stowell, I believe is his name, and her name is Mariel Molino.
Yeah.
She's got a man's at home, but I feel like there may be something going on.
Chemistry.
Yeah. But very great storyline to start off with. The one agent, he gets brought in, and I need to hear more about what happened with him because it appears that his wife and daughter were murdered and the suspect was never found and apparently fled to Mexico. So I'm interested to see what happens there. He did fail his psych test, but still got onto the team because of I think it was Agent Mike. He brought him in, and so grateful because he's very quiet, keeps to himself, but he is so smart. And he was the one who figured out this week's, case and what was going on. So that was so great. But I will definitely be watching every week. It was so good. Kept me on that feet, like I said. And I'm excited to see where this goes. I also, again, I don't normally watch these shows, but I feel like it is based back in the day. And then there's a storyline going on in the background where it is current day.
Okay.
And that's what I'm thinking. I mean, the computers are ancient. Everything feels ancient. Yeah. And then there's like this older man like telling a story in the background. And he comes on every so often. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
He's the young Leroy Jethro Gibbs. So Leroy Jethro Gibbs is Mark Harmon on the current or the NCIS that's been running forever.
Okay.
So
see, I wouldn't know that.
They're using him to narrate. That's kind of neat. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. So like you'll see like there's like the storyline like happens and then he comes on in the background and like you'll see like I think he was like by a fire and he's narrating stuff that is going on. So,
that's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
I didn't know they were going to do that.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. So and I'm not sure if it was one episode or two episodes. It was like over an hour long.
It was kind of ended.
Okay, yeah, so it kind of ended and then it started a new thing. So I was like, I think this is 2 episodes, but I didn't want it to stop. So I'm like, keep going.
Yeah, because people were pretty pumped for this premiere and I think they knew that. So they doubled up the action for people. But that's so cool. I'd love to hear from listeners what they thought and if they are NCIS watchers.
Yeah. Or new, like me.
Or new even, yeah. Like, tell us what you think. Are you going to keep watching? Did it pass your expectations or miss the mark?
Yeah. Am I too easy to please? Please let me know.
No, I think this one was set up to be really, really popular. So I don't think
everyone wanted to know Gibbs's backstory anyways.
That's what it is.
As to why what happened to him and why he joined NCIS. So I think that having him narrate kind of brings the original NCIS. I shouldn't say old, but the original NCIS.
Well, it's been on for a long time.
Yeah. To the new origins, which is his origin. So right. I think that ties in the old and the new, and that'll get fans more involved and interested. I wish they would do that for some of the shows. Like Criminal Minds did that for one episode. And they showed how 2 of the older investigators ended up starting the whole BAU. And I wish that they had done a prequel on that and let us know how that whole thing had started. But I think it kind of rounds out the story for a lot of people. So I think that's why they like it too.
Yeah, for sure.
Really cool. I'm interested to keep watching. So it's definitely on my list to watch.
That's awesome because I'm sure it'll be one that gets voted on quite highly by our listeners.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm here.
Thanks. Yes, that's good. And now we're staying with you because Love is Blind got a ton of votes.
Yes. My favorite.
And people have a lot of opinions. I want people to share their opinions, but I would love to hear what you thought. I know you were looking up for it.
Yeah. Again, I was like expecting a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure it was just 2 episodes. But I hate that they make us wait for the wedding. I hate
know.
it. Just give me the next set of episodes,
Right.
have it end, and then we wait for the reunion. I'm okay to wait for the reunion, right? Because
Of
I want the
course.
reunion to be more up to date. I don't want it to be filmed a month ago, because a month ago, some of the couples still could have broken up due to what has been coming out on Twitter or Instagram, you know.
Totally.
So that was the only thing I was disappointed about. But again, fed us with drama. We saw some couples break it off before they even went wedding dress shopping. And yeah, so Hannah and Nick.
They broke up?
Yes. So Hannah and Nick.
Okay.
I was actually just talking about this in my mom group. She is just so mean. She is truly so mean. And I heard her on a podcast this week. I just saw a clip of it, and she said that she is a truth teller. And that is okay. But there's a way to be a truth teller, and there's a way to be rude. And I just felt like she was very rude to him, even in the way that she broke it off with him. And in the end, but you know, I love you, and you're perfect for me. But like, is he perfect for you? You literally don't like anything he does. You're constantly belittling him. I'm actually surprised that people were voting, that they were rooting for this couple.
I actually saw a ton. People, I guess, had been watching when it dropped. Did it drop on Wednesday?
I believe so. Wednesday night, I think. So
yeah, and so a bunch of people were tweeting, and so I tuned in, and yeah, they showed a clip of her. She like insults him and then peppers in, but I love you. But it's like, no. That is so disingenuous. Like, you can't do that. And the poor guy was just like, no, nothing I do is right for you.
Well, and they show him meeting her friends, I believe, in these 2 episodes.
Right.
And he says, like, I feel like she's trying to change who I am. Okay. But
find someone else.
He's just never mean to her. But he's like, I feel like she's just trying to change who I am. And I just I don't feel like I should have to change for somebody. And I agree. You know, like, you love somebody because of who they are, you know, as a person. And I get some things, like they had the flapper party this week, and he was talking with her best friend, and they were kind of flirting. And she was very upset about it. And same thing. She comes home, very rude to him, but then ends the night saying she loves him with a kiss.
Oh God.
You know, and even her friends were kind of like, yeah, like, all she wants you to do is like take her dog for a walk. She wants you to do this. It's not changing who you are. It's just changing the things that you do. And it's like, no, but that's not all she's asking. Like, they're not seeing the you know, the kind of things that even just the conversations we're seeing. Right. When they're just at home, the 2 of them, right? Where she's being mean about other things.
And she's not going to tell her friends what she's doing.
No. And so, yeah, that was a little bit for me. So I was glad they broke up. I hope he is doing well and has moved on to bigger and better, because he deserves that. She's looking stunning. She has completely altered her look. Yeah. So we'll see what happens between them. I have heard that they are still friends, possibly, but we will see.
That would be weird, but.
And then the other one that completely shocked me was, I believe it's Ashley and Tim. Oh my gosh, I hope it's Ashley and Tim. Anyways, this was the couple I was telling everybody that he doesn't like confrontation, never wants to fight. Alexandra, thank you. And they broke up. They broke up before anything. They broke up even before the flapper party.
Why?
Wow.
Well, so I guess his family came into town to meet her. Or she went there to meet them. I'm not quite sure exactly how it happened, but she met with them, and she had, you know, I think she said 6 hours of spending time with them. And then she needed to do something that night and needed to drive somewhere. So she wanted to take a nap. And apparently he wasn't even there. So she told them, hey, I'm going to take a nap. It was lovely to see you, you know, but I'm going to go take a nap so that I can drive safely. You know, she was very exhausted. And I can see why he was mad about that. You know, like, he had said in the pods, my family is number one. My family is so important. I need you to get along with my family. And it did kind of seem, while she was talking to them, like she was just kind of like this. You know, like very disinterested, but was still like answering their questions and stuff. And she just kept reiterating, well, I was so tired. I'm so sorry. Like, you know, I'm not quite sure what she wants. And like, you know what? She is super tired. I hope that she's okay and she doesn't have like low iron or something.
She's starting to think.
She's so exhausted, like all the time. So anyways, they broke up and I was actually surprised because I thought these two might actually make it. Yeah. But they are not. Ooh. And then the couple that
that leaves 5. No, 5?
Yeah. There were 7, 2.
Yeah.
Is that 5?
That's 5.
Yeah. So there should be 5. So then we have Ashley and, oh my gosh, I'm so terrible with names, but the couple that the man has
Tyler.
3 children.
Tyler.
I cannot believe these two are together. They're getting married. I can tell you right now. I have not read spoilers, but he has been able to manipulate her and lie to her, and she's believing it all. And you know what? All this stuff is allegedly, right?
This is the man who said he was just a sperm donor, right?
Yes. And last night, I believe it was last night, I was on TikTok and I saw that his person that he had 3 children with has come out and said the first one, yes, he was a sperm donor. She is a lesbian, so she was with another woman at the time.
Okay.
And then they ended up breaking up and she obviously kept the kid. And they decided to consensually have sex and ended up conceiving twins.
Oh boy.
Wow.
But he says that he provided sperm for those ones, right? And he was still a sperm donor for those 2, which is, she is saying a complete lie.
You're not a sperm donor if you have a relationship with the children. Sorry.
Yes. So anyways, he still is saying he is a sperm donor to her and not really telling her the truth. So they're going to make it down the aisle. I can guarantee you. And I'm so interested to see how it plays out at the reunion because I think that's when we're going to find out more. Because I don't think that she's going to find out anything more about how serious it is until after they already are married.
Well, yeah, because how is she going to find out in the bubble that they're in kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So it'll be so interesting to see that. So I'm excited for the reunion for that one, but I am sad for her. But maybe, maybe they're so happy. And who am I to say that?
Hey, maybe she'll just be like, well, okay.
Now I have 3 children too, right? Who knows?
But I think it's the lying.
That's what gets me. I would never be able to forgive somebody for lying to me like that. No. You know, and like, what else are you lying about then?
That's right.
Yeah,
like that is such a serious lie. Like that's
big lie.
You know, and now that is on TV. So like, even if they don't call him dad or whatever, he's in their lives, and now he's on TV, which is forever.
Yeah.
Basically saying they're nothing to him.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, it is really sad. So that we'll see how that story plays out. And then my favorite couple, Taylor and Garrett, still so boring, except they had a little bit of drama this week. I guess somebody from his past had texted him and she saw the text and he says that he just liked it to her. Okay. But then when they get to the flapper party, he tells Tyler, I responded back and said, hey, thanks for the message kind of thing. But like my circumstances have changed and I'm now engaged. And he didn't tell Taylor that he said that. He just said that he liked the message and kind of went on with his day. So she was very upset. And of course, this was the night before they were leaving to go meet her family. And she already said to him, like, if I'm not 200% about you, I'm not bringing you to meet my family.
Well, of course.
So unfortunately, they had this big tiff the night before they left, but they ended up making it through. She said they talked all night and she cried all night, but they figured it out. And she said she knows he felt so bad. And I truly believe he felt so bad. He is genuinely, I think, the nicest man this season.
Okay.
He is so sweet, so caring of her, always like attentive of her feelings. And he's just great. So she ended up taking him to meet her family. And it seemed that her family loved them so much. It wasn't filmed. So they just got like a little iPhone video of all of them because her family didn't want to be on the camera. But when it came down to wedding dress shopping, her mom came and was filmed for it.
That's nice.
Yeah, and she did get a little emotional saying, you know, her dad felt a certain way about the situation, but, you know, she said, this is her life and we want to be a part of it, so we got to support her. So she was there to go wedding dress shopping and it was so special. and I loved it. And I am rooting for these two. I think that they are married, and I think that they are still married, and I think that they are happy. And I'm just excited to see what happens.
I too have not read any spoilers, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. I normally read, and like TikTok always has people posting the marriage certificates and which ones were actually filed.
Oh,
yeah, but I
dodged that
when things like that come through. So yeah, I really want it to be fresh for me. So
yeah, and that's the problem with today's TV landscape. Nothing can stay hidden. Nothing.
No, something comes up all the time, and sometimes I need to know. Like I watch
reality
end. Yeah, for the challenge, like I need to know how it ends. Otherwise, I cannot watch because I have too much anxiety. Like I just need to know the ending. You know,
show like that.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, so I need to know. So I get it for those, but yeah, for ones like this, I'm like, I don't want to know this time. Like I want it to be a surprise for me. So, and then I think we have Marissa and Ramses.
Yes.
And same thing I said last time, that I don't think that they're going to make it. And I also, again, don't think that they're going to make it, but not for the reasons I thought. I just think that he's going to chicken out.
Okay.
And they're not going to get married, especially the way it was the last episode ended, and he was just kind of questioning everything and whether he wanted to do it or not. Again,
that's never a good sign.
They're just not, I just can't get into them anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like I was just thrown off about the sex with a condom comment.
Yeah,
and even the beginning of the first episode, I believe it was, they were in a little argument because he was upset. She was on her period, and I believe maybe she has PCOS or endometriosis. I'm not sure. She might, but she was just like, didn't want to be touched. She just like, and he was very upset and said he doesn't want to go like a relationship with that happening, and she's like, I said,
want to date girls?
I said, don't touch me one time. She's like, I'm not telling you this every day,
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. He just is rubbing me wrong. But he did meet her other connection in the pod at the flapper party.
Oh.
And they kind of threw us a little cliffhanger before these episodes came out, that she was going to kind of like maybe like him, or like, she said she remembered his voice right away and it felt comforting. But in the end, she said she was certain that she wasn't meant to be with him. I think he's Bowden. And she was certain she wasn't meant to be with him, but that they were meant to be friends. So that was nice, because at least if something does happen here, she has a friend like him that she can, lean on.
True.
Especially with these things, right? Like this was filmed like probably a year ago.
Yeah.
And so for a year, they have to keep everything private. So when you can talk with your people from the pod. So it's nice to have people who understand. And if they really are friends because they built that connection in the pod, it's nice to have somebody like that. So, but we'll see what happens with them. She did try on dresses. She picked up a beautiful dress. Her mom was there and her bestie. And it was, honestly, the dress episode is always my favorite because I love to see what people end up picking. But it was good. But I don't think these two are going to make it. I think our only marriages are going to be Taylor and Garrett, and then Ashley and Tyler.
Okay.
I think those are going to be the only two. But am I missing somebody?
Brittany and Leo?
Oh, they're still not on the show.
Okay, right, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll hear about them at the reunion, because they've been using them to promote the reunion. Yeah, you don't want them on the show, but then you're using them to promote that they'll be at the reunion.
Why didn't you use them for drama?
I don't know. I really don't know what happened there, but I feel like something.
Something must have happened.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, a producer of a reality dating show is not going to miss out on that opportunity. No. Unless something big happened and they couldn't have them on.
Right. And so I wonder what that was, or if it was anything. So that'll be interesting to see. Also, we're going to have some returning guests for the reunion. I believe Jessica from last season, our favorite girly, she will be there. I did see Giannina, she is there. And there was a couple other people, but I did see that Micah was invited, but she already was going to Tokyo, so she wasn't able to make it. But it'll be interesting to see their thoughts on the season and any advice they have to give to the still married couples or the ones that have broken up, where to go from there. I mean, Giannina, she's with somebody from The Bachelor world. So
yeah, they all seem to find each other after these shows. I don't know.
And and now too, they're having shows like on Netflix, The Perfect Match, and they're bringing people from all these different shows onto one show, and so they're meeting there as well. So, But yeah, the reunion should be good. We're going to have some old cast members returning, and then the ones we just watched all season. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to see who does make it to the altar, because like I said, I did not spoil it for myself. So I'm excited to see who does make it and who doesn't. And just to see where everybody is now. I mean, so many people look so different. Like even Taylor and Garrett, he looks like a new person. It is wild. People say it's a marriage glow up. So I'm holding on to that. Yeah. I hope they're together. They are seriously my favorite. They've been my favorite from the beginning. Like I said, I love a boring couple. They're my favorite. They're the most realistic to me. So,
well, you'll have to fill us in next week.
Yes, I'm excited.
Because I'm sure people want to know.
Yes.
So we're going to leave the reality world for a bit and head into back to network TV. And 911, super popular. I think this got the most votes of all the shows that I pulled. So Bobby's return as captain was definitely a highlight. Lots of people were waiting for that because they hated Gerard. What did you think, Susanna?
I was really happy that he got back. He had put in his resignation, or he said he did, but then it all came to be why Gerard even went to station 118 because of Ortiz. I didn't like him at the beginning either. He's a bit of a hard ass, but in the end, when he wore those body cams, because she made them wear the body cams on the actual visit with her, and he trapped her, like, I thought, you know what, maybe he's not as bad as people make him out to be. He did help in the end, but I think that a lot of that came to be because he wanted Bobby's job on the movies, because he was so entranced with that when he went there to see Bobby to begin with. He was all excited about it. But I kind of, when I saw that portion, I thought, I wonder if he'll end up doing that job, because he wanted to retire before he got named captain anyways, right? So, but the whole show is pretty amazing. I loved how Hen now like confronted Ortiz, and all that came into fruition, that it was her. And I can't believe she would be okay. Like, she lost her kid and she's okay with torturing another kid to be away from their parents, So that like really made me hate her. But I'm glad that all came to be. Everything is kind of where it should be, but it's only for this episode, because next episode it'll be another blowout like it always happens. So I think a lot of things though got resolved. As you saw, Bobby and Athena were trying to decide about a new house. And I loved how it got resolved that they're going to end up building their own house, because she didn't really think about that house being her ex-husband's house, and how Bobby wanted something new for them and just for them. So I'm glad that now they're going to finally have their new beginning in their new place. So I'm really looking forward to that. As always, Buck was hilarious this whole episode. And I like what they're doing with Eddie. Like, I feel like he's becoming a more involved character outside of his whole world revolved around Christopher. And I feel like them kind of removing Christopher for a little bit, we will get to see him in a new light, where it's just his life revolving around him trying to be a better person. And I feel like we got to see a different type of Eddie there. Except the stash. The stash has got to go. I could not believe it when I saw him with the stash. I was like, huh?
We should have a poll.
I know, we should have a poll. Like, does the stash go? Bobby wants it to go. He told him pretty much that when he went to go see him, but I was like, oh no, the stash has got to go. The old Eddie, I'm okay with the old Eddie coming back without the stash.
911 is actually the episode was titled No Place Like Home, but I think that had a lot of meanings in this episode. So.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Because home is where they live, but home is also the station. They're all a huge family. And I feel like now the family is back together and everyone's in their home where they should be.
That's right. Yeah, totally. Lots of meanings. And the show is just wildly popular. And by the way, Ryan Murphy, people are upset. I'm adding this in because he's making another 911 spinoff, but they canceled, or didn't cancel. They decided to end 911 Lone Star, which people love. And
Why would they do that?
well, his rationale is, well, 911 Lone Star's on a different network, so it'll never work.
But it did work, though.
But it did work. See how many people are watching it? Outrage. This man. I don't know. So there is going to be another 911, but the location is to be determined.
Well, and you know what, though? He needs to look at the fact that so many of these popular shows, Law & Order, NCIS, they all have separate shows that intertwine. And the fact that Lone Star was very popular, had a bunch of well-known actors in it, and that he's like saying goodbye to it. Maybe he got bored. I don't know. I mean, he surprises me every week.
Something makes me think like he's got Dr. Odyssey on ABC. He's got 911 on ABC. I think he's got something going with ABC. And
Yeah,
ABC is not going to pick up Lone Star. So
I wonder why, though. They could
know.
do tons of crossovers if they had to.
It's interesting. I have no idea why they picked up 911 and not Lone Star, but
it's strange.
The whole thing is weird. But anyway, keep my ears open and see what the story is there. But he's hoping it can be filmed and ready to go for next season, which is crazy to me. But in Ryan Murphy's world, anything is possible. So, speaking of drama, well, we got some big casting news this week. Sophia Bush is joining Grey's Anatomy, and I did not see this coming. And I have my opinions, but I'm going to let Jessica go first because she's actually a Grey's fan and a Sophia Bush fan.
Yes, I've been a Sophia Bush fan since Winter Hill.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite show of all time. It's still my favorite show of all time. Nothing can compare. But I did not expect this.
Oh.
But it makes sense. And I'm excited. I know you are not, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see her in a different kind of light. The police officer, I've seen her as a high school girl. Now I'm ready to see her as I'm not sure if she's a doctor or a nurse. I think she's a doctor, but I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited.
Yeah, a doctor. Okay.
Yeah, so
she was a doctor though in a show.
She was in Good Sam.
One season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Good Sam.
But nobody remembers it.
Show. Nope, because it didn't last
one season.
Yeah.
I remember. Yes, that's true. I forgot about that show. I did enjoy that show, but again, do I only enjoy it because it's Sophia Bush? Am I really pleased? Like, you guys need to let me know because maybe I'm just like not hard to like disappoint. I'm not sure, but
I don't know. Like, you are very character driven.
Yeah,
I think you're very character driven. Me, on the other hand, I kind of see the whole picture, which is why. And it's not that I'm mad about it. It's just I don't understand what Grey's Anatomy is doing. So at the beginning, when they got renewed, I think like a week later, they came out saying that they have to do some cutbacks. And so they have an large ensemble cast. And so not everybody's going to be in every episode due to budget. And then all of a sudden, it was like every week, so-and-so joins Grey's Anatomy. So-and-so joins Grey's Anatomy. It's like, what are you doing?
And it's not small actresses or actors. No. You know what I mean? Like, I could see if it was like little people, like new, okay, you probably don't have to pay them as much. But these are like big, like there's no way they're not paying Sophia a good kind of money to come on the show. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like if I were a cast member on the show and I was already getting my episodes cut, and then all these people keep getting cast to take on, like, I would be pissed personally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it. And the other thing is, oh my God, her name is escaping me. She was let go from Grey's Anatomy.
Sarah.
Yeah, she came out this week saying that it was unfair and unjust in the way that they did it. And it was sort of like this too, right? Where they let her go and then brought on a bunch of different people.
It was her and Jessica Capshaw.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they both got let go at like the same time.
Yeah.
And everybody was kind of like, what is going on? And then, like you said, a whole bunch of new people got brought on. So it's like, why are you getting rid of them? And again, Owen Hunt, like, we don't like you as a character, but we like you as a person.
Yeah.
Why are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, nobody wants you there, unfortunately. And your storyline is just like getting not so great.
Yeah.
We want something else. But yet the stuff we were liking, those girls left. It was really weird when it happened, and I'm glad she's speaking out now because I know that they were very hush hush at the time. So I'm glad she's saying something, and it's very, very sad. And even, oh my gosh, his name's gonna escape me, but he left in the earlier seasons, and oh my God, he was one of the main. I'm terrible with names. I'm so sorry.
I don't watch enough to know.
He died in the way he was died, he was like entirely burnt, I believe. Or his
Ooh.
body was just like, his body was completely,
George.
you couldn't know who he was. Oh my
George.
God, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. But anyways, he as well, I believe he was kind of told like, hey, by the way, you're dying at the end of the season.
Ooh.
But like, he was such a big character. It's like,
Uh,
why are you letting them go? It's just so weird to me that
uh,
it feels like the most loved characters
are the ones
leave,
that kill.
and then the ones that people are ready to say goodbye, they are still there.
Stick around. And that's the thing. If you want to bring in all fresh faces, because again, 21 seasons, you need to stay fresh.
No problem. Yeah.
Then get rid of some people who've been there for ages and ages and nobody really connects with anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, you probably want to catch a younger audience. I mean,
Well, and honestly, that's mostly who's watching right now from during COVID. It was one of the biggest shows that was watched on Netflix, and it was by the younger generation. So,
well, your sister, she's young. She's in her 20s. She started watching it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why they brought Sophia Bush is really big right now. She's posting a lot about the election. She has a new relationship. You know, she's one of the beloved characters on One Tree Hill. So Grey's Anatomy is having trouble with ratings. Why not grab somebody that everybody loves, put them on the show, and let's see if we can catch our ratings back up. I mean, that could be a possibility too. I mean, she's good whatever she does. I mean, I enjoy her in every show. I think she takes the characters and does a really good job with them. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes with ratings after today. Like,
well, they have not been doing well. They have not been doing well. Actually, it's interesting that ABC's Thursday night lineup is down. And I know a group of people who are irked by this. So the Save Station 19 campaign crew has a special place in my heart. And their show got canceled Thursday night. And they've been putting on all these fan-led initiatives. As you know, I've kind of posted about them in the past, and we actually did a podcast recording with them. And so they filled me in on some of the things that are happening now. So there is a fan campaign where over 100 messages of support were printed on a 19-foot fire hose. And they sent it to Hulu and Shondaland to push for the show's return, which is pretty impressive. And they're also talking about having a Marina spinoff with Karina and her partner, which they have such a huge draw and a fandom, which could totally work. They also created custom Station 19 trading cards with a global team that crafted them to celebrate the series and advocate for its return. And then there's a group called the Fire Nerds that are conducting interviews with cast and crew, sharing behind-the-scenes stories via IG Live. And of course, there's tons of fan art, edits, fan fiction going on over the internet. They're doing a whole group rewatch. This fan base doesn't stop. And I hope they get rewarded in some way. But if you get a chance, to our listeners, please check out the Save Station 19 hashtag, especially if you're a fan. And even if you're not, it's worth looking and giving this group some love. And that's on Twitter and X, because they're working so hard and they really deserve some attention and love. And yeah, just a great group of people.
I hope Shondaland is paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a network would be smart to maybe a spinoff, something would be great, but hopefully something happens for these.
Well, I think I mentioned last time that some of the characters, it would have to stay on the same network. Otherwise, like some of the characters wouldn't be able to be on it. But I don't think Karina is on Grey's anymore. So
they mentioned her, but she's not on it.
Yeah, so she can. She could maybe, if her contract lets her, go to a different network, and they could do a spinoff type show. So that would be interesting to see. I did really love Station 19. I was a wreck at the series finale. I was not well. I just sat there and sobbed, and I sobbed when it was done for about half an hour. It was so good. I was not ready to let it go. I grew to love the characters so much. Again, another show, I had no clue who the characters were, but I was watching because I knew it was going to be, intertwined with Grey's Anatomy. So I wanted to make sure I knew everything that was going on. And I was really sad it ended. So I hope something comes of it. I would be interested to watch a spinoff. So
yeah. But anyway, give this group some love. They deserve it. They're working hard, and they'll keep me updated on their journey. So I guess that wraps up our breakdown for this week. What did you guys think, listeners? Make sure you let us know in the comments. As we said earlier, we'd love to be more interactive and discuss what you thought about what we're talking about in the preceding episodes. So Please follow our podcast page on Twitter at SpoilerTV Pod. You can also follow our regular page at SpoilerTV or visit the website www.spoilertv.com. And as always, like, share, and download. This will be up on YouTube. It will also be up anywhere you listen to your podcasts, and your support means a lot. So thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
and I'm so
you.
excited for TV this week.
Yeah, me too.
So one thing we didn't get into this week was Tracker. It started last week. It started with a big bang. It was such a good episode. This week's episode, I've already seen it, is even better. So I'm going to make sure we break that down next week. And
a teacup. Everyone
Right.
needs to
Go
watch
for
it
it.
if they can.
On
That is,
Peacock.
yeah, amazing. I just watched the second episode, and it's so freaking scary.
Okay.
So it's
Well,
awesome.
Love it.
you got some recommendations there, but lots happening in TV this week, and we'll be back next week with more TV news and show breakdowns. Look for the polls so you can vote. And this has been the Spoiler TV podcast. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.